The storm outside wasn't half as chaotic as the storm inside Elena's heart. She stood at the door of the billionaire's private study, her hands trembling as she knocked. She had been his maid for almost 2 years, but never had she asked him for anything, until tonight. "Come in," Alexander Voss said, not looking up from his laptop. Elena stepped forward, her voice barely steady. "Sir, I need a favor, a serious one." That finally made him look up. His gray eyes narrowed with curiosity. "You never asked for favors. What is it?" She swallowed hard. "I need you to pretend to be a housemaid. For 1 day. No questions, just please." There was a long, stunned silence. Alexander, a man known for his control, composure, and ruthless decisiveness, almost laughed. But the desperation in her eyes froze him. "Why would you need that from me?" he asked quietly. Her eyes shimmered, but she forced the tears back. "Because someone very dangerous is coming tomorrow. Someone who cannot know who you really are or who I really am." Alexander leaned back slowly, studying her as if seeing her for the first time. "You're hiding something, Elena." She didn't deny it. She couldn't. "And this person," he continued, "is a threat to you, to both of us," she whispered. "But you won't believe me unless you see it yourself. That's why I need you to switch roles with me. Let me be the employer, and you act like the help. Just once. Please." He should have refused. He should have demanded answers. But something in her voice, a quiet, trembling truth, made him nod. "Fine," he said. 1 day. She exhaled shakily, almost collapsing from relief. The next morning, Alexander Voss, one of the richest men in the country, stood in an oversized Maid uniform, hair tied back, sleeves rolled up, trying not to look offended at his reflection. Elena, in contrast, wore a simple but elegant dress he had never seen her in, her posture suddenly poised, almost royal. He stared. "Where did you learn to walk like that?" "Like what?" she asked too quickly. Before he could answer, the doorbell rang. Her face drained of color. "He's here," she whispered. Alexander expected a criminal, a violent man, a debt collector, someone dangerous in the obvious ways. But when the door opened, it was a man in a pristine white suit, flanked by 2 guards. His face was smooth, confident, and chilling. Elena froze as he entered. "Father." Alexander's heart dropped. Her father, a man who carried power like a weapon. Alexander, pretending to scrub the floor, watched as Elena lowered her gaze. Not like a maid, but like someone hiding from her own blood. "You've been gone a long time," her father said coldly. "Running away from your duties, from your inheritance." Inheritance? Alexander nearly dropped the bucket. Elena's hands curled into fists. "I'm not returning." Her father smirked. "You will. You have no idea what's been happening in your absence. And this house, your little hiding place, has secrets I intend to uncover." He began walking deeper into the mansion. "Stop." Elena stepped in front of him with unexpected fire. "You can't go further." "And who will stop me?" he taunted. "Your servant." Alexander kept his head bowed, but every instinct in him screamed danger. Her father leaned close to Elena. "You forgot something, my daughter. Everything you touch, everything you hide, belongs to me." Then his eyes shifted, slowly, toward Alexander. "But especially your secrets." Elena's breathing quickened. Her entire body tensed. "Please," she whispered to Alexander without looking at him. "Just stay quiet." But her father began walking toward him anyway, circling him like a predator examining prey. And then he crouched down, lifted Alexander's chin with a single finger, and smiled. "This one," he said softly, "is lying." Elena's heart stopped. Alexander felt ice crawl down his spine. And then her father spoke the words that shattered everything she'd been trying to protect. "Tell me, Elena, why would a billionaire pretend to scrub floors in your house?" Elena felt the world tilt sideways, her breath trapping painfully in her chest as her father's words hung in the air like poison. Alexander didn't move. He didn't even blink. He simply held the man's gaze, letting the silence stretch until even the guards shifted uneasily. Elena stepped forward quickly, her voice trembling. You're mistaken. He's just... Her father lifted a hand, silencing her without even looking her way. His eyes stayed on Alexander's face, studying him with familiarity that made Alexander's stomach tighten. It wasn't recognition. No, it was calculation. The look of a man assembling a puzzle he wasn't supposed to know existed. A billionaire pretending to scrub floors, her father murmured, almost amused. A ridiculous thought, unless there's something you're trying very hard to hide. Alexander kept his expression flat. Sir, I don't know what you're implying. The man's lips lifted in a slow, dangerous smile. Your shoes don't match the uniform. They're too expensive. Your posture isn't submissive enough. And your hands... He reached out, taking Alexander's wrist before anyone could react. Not a callus in sight. Not the hands of a maid. Not even of a man who's ever done hard labor. Elena's pulse hammered. She stepped between them, forcing her father to release Alexander's wrist. Enough. You came here to talk to me, not interrogate someone who has nothing to do with you. Her father's smile never wavered, but a flicker of irritation flashed in his eyes. So protective, he said, voice soft. Tell me, Elena, why? She said nothing, jaw tightening. Is he your lover? Her father asked lightly. Alexander inhaled sharply. Elena flinked. The white-suited man laughed softly. No? Then perhaps he is simply a very valuable asset. Elena clenched her fists, but her father continued before she could respond. Or, he said with a sigh, stepping back, he is something far more dangerous. Someone you trust. That struck too close. Elena's breath shook. Alexander realized she wasn't trembling from fear of discovery. She was trembling from the memories tied to this man. Memories heavy enough to break bones and hearts alike. Her father strolled leisurely through the hallway, glancing at the paintings on the walls. You were always a rebellious one, Elena, running away from the name that could buy nations, hiding in a mansion that isn't yours. Living as a maid, he clicked his tongue. What a dramatic little escape. Elena followed him with rigid shoulders. I left because I want a life of my own. No, her father corrected softly. You left because you were afraid. He brushed his fingers over a glass sculpture, examining it as if it belonged to him. And your fear led you to this place, with this man. Alexander tightened his grip on the mop handle. He didn't know the whole story. He didn't know even a fraction. But he understood this. Elena had been running from a man who believed he owned her. Her father leaned back against a marble column, finally looking at her with the full weight of his authority. Your engagement is still intact. Your fiancé has been asking for you. Elena went pale. I'm not marrying him. You don't have a choice. Alexander froze. Fiancé? Her father stepped toward her slowly, like a man approaching prey that had nowhere left to run. You belong to a family that has ruled empires, funded governments, built legacies, and yet you ran away to scrub floors and wear cheap uniforms. His voice hardened. You embarrass me. Elena's breath cracked, but she didn't step back. I won't go back. I won't marry him. And I won't be used to secure your political alliances. Her father's eyes sharpened. You will... Alexander could not stay silent anymore. She said no. Her father turned his head slightly, curiosity flickering. Ah, the servant speaks. I'm telling you to leave. She doesn't want you here. The room froze. Even Elena turned slowly toward Alexander, eyes wide. Not in fear, no. In disbelief. In silent pleading. In warning. Her father smiled like a man discovering a new toy. So, he murmured, taking a step closer to Alexander, you're not just playing along. You're protecting her. Alexander didn't answer. The man tilted his head. For Maid, you're bold. He's not bold. Elena snapped, stepping between them again. He's loyal. Something you've never understood. Loyalty, her father repeated, tasting the word. How quaint. He stepped past her, walking deeper into the house. I'll take a look around. This mansion hides something important. Something you ran here to protect. Elena paniqued. You can't go further. Her father ignored her. Alexander moved instinctively, placing himself between the man and the hallway leading to the private rooms. But her father didn't look intimidated, not by size, not by wealth, not by anything at all. "Out of the way," he said calmly. Alexander didn't move. Elena grabbed Alexander's sleeve. "Please," she whispered urgently. "Don't provoke him." But her father wasn't looking at them anymore. His eyes were on the door at the end of the corridor, the one Elena had begged Alexander never to open, the one she always locked, the one she kept the key to hidden beneath her mattress, the one room that carried her true secret. Her father moved toward it with certainty, as if drawn by instinct. "Stop." Elena yelled, her voice cracking. "You can't open that." He reached for the door handle. Alexander felt the tension explode. He grabbed her father's wrist without thinking. In a blur, the guards lunged forward, reaching for their concealed weapons. "Enough!" Elena screamed, her voice shattering the moment. Everyone froze. Her father stared at her slowly lowering hands trembling, palms open, as if she were surrendering something far more precious than her freedom. "Elena," he said softly, "what are you hiding in that room?" Her throat tightened, tears rising helplessly. "Please, don't do this." Her father's expression shifted. Not anger, not satisfaction. Something far darker. "So it's true," he whispered. "You brought him here." Alexander frowned. "Him." Elena's chest heaved, terror flooding her features. "Father, please, don't go near that door." Her father touched the handle again. "Elena," he said coldly, "if you hid the boy in this house, I swear." "Elena." Alexander repeated, stunned. "What boy?" Her father spoke before she could. "The heir," he said. "Her son." Alexander's world exploded into silence. Her father's voice dropped to a whisper sharp enough to cut skin. "The child that should have never been born." Alexander felt the air leave his lungs, the room warping as the meaning of those words settled into silence. "So, her son." Elena stumbled back as if struck, her fingers trembling so violently she had to grip the wall to steady herself. "Father, don't," she whispered. "Don't say another word." But the man in white was no longer pretending. His mask of elegance had peeled away, revealing the ruthless core beneath. "You hid him," her father said, voice like ice cracking under pressure. "After everything I did to erase that mistake, you dared to keep him alive." Alexander's jaw tightened. "What are you talking about?" Elena shook her head, tears threatening to spill. Please don't drag him into this." Her father ignored her completely. "Where is he, Elena?" When she didn't answer, his gaze drifted back to the door at the end of the hallway, the one she always protected with a desperation that now made horrifying sense. "He's in there," her father murmured. "No." Elena stepped in front of the door, her arms spread wide, shaking but unyielding. "You'll go through me." Her father's lips curled. "That can be arranged." The guards moved forward, but Alexander stepped in their path so sharply that they faltered, unsure why the maid had such commanding presence. "And what are you planning to do?" Her father sneered. "Polish my shoes? Sweep the floor aggressively." Alexander said nothing, but there was something in his eyes, something hard, something practiced. The guards noticed it immediately. Their hands didn't leave their weapons this time. Elena reached for Alexander's wrist, gripping it with urgency. "Please," she whispered, "don't fight them. I can't lose anyone else." Her father laughed softly. "Look at you, a disgrace to our bloodline, throwing yourself in front of commoners and hired help. Enough." Elena shouted. Her father's smile widened, satisfied at the cracks appearing in her voice. "You had one job," he said, "to secure the alliance, to marry the man chosen for you, to give this family an heir worthy of our name." Alexander's stomach twisted. "Are you saying—" "Yes," her father snapped. "She defied us. She ran away. And when we found out she was pregnant with that illegitimate child—" Elena flinked violently. Alexander's eyes darkened. "We tried to fix the scandal," her father said coldly, "but she disappeared before anything could be done." Alexander's hands curled into fists. Anything could be done? You're talking about a child. An obstacle, her father corrected. One that threatens everything we built. One that must be removed. Something snapped inside Alexander. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. But it was enough. He stepped forward, no longer pretending to be anyone but who he was. The billionaire. The man feared by CEOs and politicians alike. The man who had built empires with unshakable resolve. Her father's smile faltered for the first time. Alexander spoke softly, dangerously. Touch her or that child, and you will not leave this house. The guard stiffened, confused, uncertain why a supposed housemaid was speaking with the confidence of a man who owned the oxygen in the room. Elena stood between them, torn, trembling, breath unsteady. Stop, both of you. This isn't the way. But her father ignored her. His eyes locked onto Alexander, calculating, reassessing. You, he murmured. You're the reason she stayed hidden so long. You protected her. Alexander didn't deny it. And now, her father continued darkly, you're protecting the child? That child, Alexander said sharply, is none of your concern. Oh, but he is, her father whispered. He carries our blood, and blood must be controlled. Elena's voice cracked. He's just a little boy. Her father snapped around to her. A threat in small packaging is still a threat. Elena choked on a sob. Alexander reached for her, but she stepped away, hugging herself, trying to hold together the pieces breaking inside her. Her father turned again toward the door. Every instinct in Elena screamed. Please, she cried, darting forward and grabbing his arm. Father, I'm begging you. Leave him out of this. He's innocent. Innocent? Her father scoffed. He should not exist. Alexander's voice dropped to a growl. You need to stop talking. But her father stepped closer to the door, his hand landing on the handle with slow, deliberate intent. Elena lunged to pull him back, but he pushed her aside so hard she stumbled into Alexander's chest. Alexander steadied her gently, and that small act of tenderness made her father sneer. Disgusting, he muttered. Falling in love with the help. You really wanted to tarnish our lineage. Elena shook with rage. I don't care about your lineage. I care about my son. Where is he? Her father thundered. Where's the boy? He's not here, she lied through shaking lips. He's not in that room. He's somewhere safe. Her father stared at her for a long, chilling moment. Then, move, he commanded the guards. They stepped forward, reaching for the door. Elena screamed, No. Alexander stepped in front of them, blocking the way. Her father's voice sharpened. I will open that door. Over my dead body, Alexander replied. A twisted smile returned to the man's face. That can be arranged. The guards advanced. Alexander stiffened, ready to fight. But then, a sound, soft, faint, from behind the door. A child's giggle. Elena's blood ran cold. Her father turned slowly, triumph blooming across his face. Well, he whispered, it seems he is here after all. Elena stumbled forward, breath gone, eyes wide in terror. Father, please. The child giggled again, sweet, innocent, oblivious to the storm approaching him. Alexander's heart clenched painfully. Her father reached for the door. Elena dropped to her knees, sobbing, grabbing his leg with desperate hands. Please, she cried. He's all I have. He's everything I have. Don't take him. Don't hurt him. I'll do anything, just don't open that door. Her father looked down at her, bored. Pathetic. Alexander moved, fury in his veins. But her father placed his hand on the door, turned the handle, and pushed it open. When the door swung open, time didn't move. It shattered. The light from the window spilled gently into the small room, illuminating toys scattered on a soft carpet, a tiny bed in the corner, and a little boy seated on the floor, building a tower of colorful blocks. He looked up, curious, innocent. Dark curls framed his angelic face, and his eyes, God, those eyes were unmistakable. A rich storm gray, identical to Elena's, and something else in them, something sharp, intelligent, watchful. The child blinked at the strangers in the doorway, then smiled. "Mommy?" The single word tore through the silence like a blade. Elena scrambled into the room, her tears flowing freely as she scooped her son into her arms. She held him close, so close, as if her body alone could block the entire world. The little boy nestled against her, without understanding the danger, just inches away. Her father studied the child with a chilling, unreadable expression. "So," he murmured, "the disgrace lives." Alexander moved forward instinctively, but Elena raised a hand, a silent plea for him not to intervene yet. Her son's tiny fingers clung to her dress, sensing her trembling. "Mother, why you cry?" the boy whispered. Her breath broke. "Because I love you," she whispered back, kissing his curls. Her father took a slow step inside, and the room felt smaller, the air thinner. "I warned you," he said quietly. "You were never meant to give birth to that boy. He threatens the alliances I've built with decades of blood and power. You shattered everything when you ran away pregnant." Elena shook her head fiercely, pulling her child closer. "He's not a threat. He's my son. He is pure. He is good. He is a complication," her father corrected coldly. Then, turning his gaze to Alexander, he added, "And you? I should have known. Only a man with influence and pride would dare stand between me and my own bloodline." Alexander met his stare, without flinching. "I don't care who you are. You don't have authority here." "No," her father sneered. "Your company depends on the same political networks I built. Your wealth relies on stability my empire protects. You may be powerful, Mr. Voss, but I am the one who decides which men remain powerful." Alexander took one step forward. "And yet," he said calmly, "here you are, threatened by a child." Her father stiffened, the insult slicing deeper than any weapon. Elena whispered to her son, "Baby, close your eyes. Don't be scared. Mommy's right here." The boy obeyed, burying his face in her neck, tiny fists clutching her shoulders. Her father lifted his hand, signaling the guards. "Take the child." Elena screamed, "No." She shielded her son with her entire body, curling around him like a mother wolf prepared to die before letting harm touch her pup. One guard stepped forward, but Alexander grabbed him by the collar, yanking him back so violently he slammed into the wall. The second guard reached for his weapon, but Alexander kicked away and pinned him with a strength fueled by something deeper than anger, something primal, something protective. Her father stumbled back in shock. "You're insane," he spat at Alexander. "No," Alexander said softly, eyes burning. "I am a man who has lived his entire life building walls. But she," he nodded to Elena, "taught me how to fight for something other than myself." Her father suddenly looked at Elena, realization dawning like a cruel sunrise. "You're in love with him." Elena hesitated only a breath before whispering, "Yes." It was enough to destroy him. Her father lunged toward her, but Alexander intercepted, blocking him with one powerful arm. The older man's fury was animalistic, his pride shredded. "You ruined everything," he bellowed. "You threw away power, status, alliances for a servant." "He's not my servant," Elena snapped, stepping forward despite her trembling legs. "He's the only man who has ever protected me. The only one who didn't want anything from me. The only man I trust with my son's life." Her father's face twisted in disgust. "You ungrateful." Before he could finish, the boy peeked over Elena's shoulder. "Mommy, who is that angry man?" The innocence in the question broke something in Alexander. It even made the guards lower their heads, not out of loyalty, but out of shame. Elena turned to her father, her expression no longer frightened, just tired. "You lost me the moment you tried to decide my future for me. But the moment you tried to destroy my child, that was the moment you lost me forever." Her father stared at her, chest heaving, jaw clenched. "You will come home with me," he said, his voice trembling with rage. "You will bring the boy, and you will marry the man chosen for you. I won't let you shame this family any further." Elena lifted her chin. "I'm not going anywhere with you." "Yes," he growled. "You are." Alexander stepped beside her, his presence a fortress. "No," he said calmly. "She isn't." Her father looked at him with venom. "Do not test me, boy." "I am not the boy in this room," Alexander replied. "I am the one man you should fear." Her father scoffed, but a flicker in his eyes betrayed him. "Fear, the first fracture." Alexander continued, voice steady, cold. "You may control politicians. You may control markets. But you will never control what Elena chooses to protect." He glanced at the child, those gray eyes blinking up at him with trust he hadn't earned but desperately wanted to. "She chooses her son," Alexander said, "and I choose them both." The room went still. Her father's throat tightened. "You're declaring war." "No," Alexander replied. "I'm ending one." Elena looked between the two men, the monster she was born to and the man she had grown to rely on. For the first time, she didn't cry. She stood, her voice calm, almost gentle. "Get out." Her father froze. "You heard her," Alexander added. "Leave." Her father's lip twitched. "You think I'll just walk away?" "You will," Alexander said, "unless you want the world to know the truth about what kind of father you are." A flash of real terror crossed the older man's face. Elena's eyes widened. She hadn't expected Alexander to know anything about her family's darkest secrets. "Your political alliances," Alexander continued, "your reputation, your empire, all built on a story of discipline and legacy. What happens when everyone discovers you try to destroy your own bloodline because your daughter chose love over power?" Her father's hand shook. "And if that isn't enough," Alexander said softly, "I can bury your empire with one press release. I have the evidence. I've had it for months." Elena gasped. Her father paled. "You investigated us?" "No," Alexander replied. "I protected her, before I even knew why." The guards looked at their employer, their certainty broken. A man who loses fear loses loyalty. And her father had just lost both. He drew a shaky breath. "You will regret this." Alexander stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Maybe, but you'll never come near them again." Her father looked at Elena, really looked at her, and for the first time, he saw someone he no longer controlled. Someone stronger than he ever allowed her to be. "You're dead to me," he whispered. Elena met his eyes without a tear. "I've been dead to you for years." He walked out. No guards, no threats, just a defeated man realizing he had lost the only battle that mattered. When the door slammed downstairs, Elena fell to her knees, clutching her son. She sobbed, not in fear but in release. Years of running, hiding, trembling, finally collapsing into the arms of someone who wouldn't let her fall. Alexander knelt beside them, his hand trembling as he brushed a tear from her cheek. "It's over," he whispered. Elena shook her head. "No, it's a beginning." Her son crawled into Alexander's lap without hesitation, reaching up to touch his face. "Are you my new daddy?" the boy asked innocently. Alexander felt his heart crack open. He looked at Elena, asking silently if it was okay. She nodded, eyes full of fragile, trembling love. Alexander wrapped his arms around them both, pulling them close. "I'll be whatever you need," he whispered. "Both of you." The boy giggled and hugged him harder. Elena leaned her head on Alexander's shoulder, closed her eyes as peace settled over her for the first time in years. Outside, the storm had cleared. Inside, a family had finally found its place. And even though life would bring challenges and dangers yet unseen, the three of them were no longer running. They were choosing, together,